Hi and welcome to Outwell. In this film I'm going to talk you through the features of our Trout Lake 4, which is a 4-person tunnel design tent in our classic collection. With the tent being in our classic collection, you'll find that the fly sheet we're using on here is our Outtex Airtech. Now this is a technical cotton, which is 65% cotton, 35% polyester. What that means is that it's going to be extremely durable. It's going to last a very, very long time. It's also naturally waterproof, and it reacts very well to the environment that it's in, whereby on a hot day it's going to keep you nice and cool, and vice versa. You'll see that the frame that we're using on here is made up of alloy poles, so these are nice and lightweight but still very strong and stable, and these are fed into our flat pole sleeves all the way along the tent here, which just create a real sleek and streamlined look to the tent. And what you will find is that we're colour coding each of the pole sleeves to the poles to ensure that when it comes to pitching it's as simple as possible. Some other features on the outside then, we have our innovative Outwell wind stabiliser system here, and we'll just show you how that works. So what we have are these Velcro tabs which are connected to the fly sheet. These are then wrapped around the pole and fastened into position with this Velcro tab here. What you'll find is there's one at the top and at the bottom of every single pole, and this is where the guy lines are attached. When we pull out the guy lines, it tautens up the whole fly sheet against the frame, making it much more stable. Speaking of the guy lines, you'll find that we're using our floating guyline system on here. So this is where we have two parts to the guy lines, where the top half is black, which ties in with some of the panels on the tent, and then at the bottom we have the luminous Outwell guy lines here, making sure that you're not going to trip over them quite as easily. Then what you'll find is each one of the guy lines also has its own retainer, so when it comes to packing down the tent, we can wrap up the guy lines in our hands, pop them in here so that the next time we come to use the tent, the guy lines themselves are very easily accessible. So what we do have is some large windows all the way around the tent. When we step round to the front, you'll see that we have this panorama front, which basically means that we have the curve to the front here with every single panel having its own window on there, so you get great views out of the tent from inside. What you will notice about the windows is that each one of them has been tinted, which serves two key functions. One is to just reduce the amount of glare from the sun, keeping you a little bit more comfortable. And the second is obviously giving you far better privacy as well. Another feature that we use on the tent is the easy pegging system. Now what this means is we supply you with 3 different types of pegs for the tent. We have our solid steel pegs here, which are anchor pegs, and these are used for the 4 corners of the tent. We then have our luminous plastic pegs, which are for all the luminous guy lines. And then we have our black plastic peg, which is for all the black pegging points around the side of the tent, ensuring that you're going to get the right peg in the right place. A big feature on the Trout Lake 4 is the fact that we have this rain-safe entrance on this side of the tent. What that allows us for on any drizzly days is for you to be able to use this side entrance, and obviously this is going to protect the inside of the tent from any water that's fallen. So stepping back into the front of the tent, you'll find that there's a real good sized front door on here, so certainly a full walk-in height tent. And then once we're in here, there again is plenty of head height here. I'm around 1.95 m, and you can see that above my head there's still plenty of space, and a good amount of space in the living area as well. So just to point out, the ground sheet that we're using in here is a really heavy duty ground sheet. This is a tarpaulin PVC coated ground sheet, and you'll find that it zips in on all sides, so hopefully that's going to protect you from the elements on the outside if there's any drafts and things like that, and hopefully keep out those unwanted bugs as well. So as I mentioned, the tent has lots of windows all the way around, allowing you to have great views outside, but what we have is for each individual window we have a curtain on each one, and what we can do is either roll them away completely like this, or they can actually be brought up into different positions just to give you a little bit more privacy, or obviously they can be fully closed as well. There is a lantern hanging point at the top of the tent, and then what we have is some cable tidies which run down from the lantern hanging point down to where the ground sheet zips in. What that allows you to do is bring in any electrics into the tent without having to run any cables through any of the doors. Speaking of doors, you'll find that we have one on either side, which allows us to have lots and lots of ventilation in here because we can open up the outside doors, drop down the mesh panels to allow lots of cool fresh air into the tent. So at the back is where the sleeping compartments are, and as I mentioned before, this tent sleeps 4 people. You can see that the bedrooms are attached to the tent using our wave-shaped hanging point system, and what that means is that it's very secure because this whole mesh panel is actually sewn into the bedrooms, and what that does is takes away any stress point away from the seam of the bedroom itself. Some of the features on the bedroom then, we have some mesh storage pockets on the outside here, so ideal for smaller bits and pieces. And then within the bedrooms themselves, you'll find that we have some storage pockets in here. And we also have a low light window, just to allow you to be able to look outside without having to leave the bedroom. And then across the back, we have a large mesh ventilation panel, which corresponds to outside ventilation panels as well. A real nice feature in here is that we use our universal bedroom. So what that means is all we need to do is just unclip around the front. So if we did that all the way around, and same at the back, and then we take the zips that are in the middle here and undo these, you can drop down this bedroom completely, roll it up and clip it away, leaving yourself one bedroom and even more living space if you wanted to. So there are a few optional extras available for this tent, including a carpet for the living area here, just for a little bit more comfort underfoot. There's a footprint available to go under the tent for a little bit more protection, and there's also a front extension available for it as well. So that's all the features of our Trout Lake 4. Thanks very much for watching.